That is the developer update. The mid-chapter patch, if you will. So, I woke up and had to go to work, obviously, but I have watched a few videos. I have read through this already. But I still think it's worth going through because I do have some opinions. After talking to some people, asking some people, hearing some differing things on Twitter, on YouTube, etc., etc. So, let's just get into it. So, developer update from March 2024. The Twins. We have waited almost 2 years for this rework, and yeah. Change. Reduce time it takes to switch back to Charlotte to 1.5 seconds was 3. Good. Change. Reduce the time it takes to unbind Victor to 0.75 seconds was 1 second. Good. Change. Reduce the time it takes to charge Victor's pounce to 0.85 seconds was 1 second. Good. All good changes. This will make them feel so much more fluid just immediately. I will give behavior credit on this before I get into my actual thoughts on the full rework. They have been doing a very good job at making killers feel better to play. Sadako is a good example. Billy is a really good example. A lot of these killers recently have been feeling much more fluid. And I hope some others get similar things to this. Night. Sorry, something in my throat. Anyways, added the ability to recall Victor at any point while he is unbounded. That is huge. Because what this means, and if you watch the video, you can do it while you're running. Which is huge. It means you don't have to stop. It feels so much more smooth and not clunky. Added the ability to change between Victor and Charlotte near a hook survivor. Asterix. The anti-face camp meter will still fill if you're too close. This includes for Victor. Which is fine. I think it's good compensation. Once again, it just makes them feel less clunky, and I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. Once again, the anti-camp still goes off, so you can't have Victor just sitting there. There's also another change to Victor that's going to make this kind of better anyways. It's a bad change in my opinion, but we'll see. Updated 7 add-ons. We don't know what that is, but they updated them. Victor's pounce no longer latches onto healthy survivors. So this is where we start getting into problems. Victor can no longer be kicked after successful pounces, which do not latch onto survivors. So, what should be noted with this, the devs did confirm this on Twitter, this is only for successful pounces. If he misses, you can still kick him. So this is only if he gets a successful injury, which might be a little annoying to kind of tell. Yeah, it is what it is. Victor's pounce now latches onto survivors when they are put into the dying state. Other survivors can crush Victor during this to help the dying survivor. Victor will automatically return to Charlotte after 20 seconds. So this means you're gonna have survivors on the ground for 20 seconds. After Victor's down, unless the survivor comes by and kicks them, which means that you can't snowball off of Victor. Now, meanwhile, the second new addition, while Victor is attached to a survivor or holding a survivor in a locker, Charlotte gains a 10% haste effect. This effect will be lost permanently or prematurely if Charlotte hits a survivor. So, okay, all right. Let's finish this. Survivors near Victor while he is lashed onto another survivor are no longer revealed by Killer Instinct. So you can't, once they're on the ground, Victor doesn't give you Killer Instinct, so you don't know if survivors are in an immediate area. Which I suppose is to stop you from, like... Because there's a lot of things with this that I don't fully understand. When he's on top of someone, can you switch back to Victor? Because it says you switch back to Charlotte, but it doesn't say you can't switch back to Victor, so maybe you can still slug. But that brings us to the main point. Charlotte getting the 10% haste. The idea behind this, I'm assuming, is when she downs somebody, or Victor downs somebody, Charlotte can now run faster across the map to pick up that person. The thing is, even with a 10% boost, if they are too far, she's just going to use that to go deal with other survivors while the person on the ground is slugged. That's all that's going to happen. So this isn't fixing the, quote, problem of twin slugging. Like, I don't think it makes it worse, I just think it makes it different. Instead of survivors having to worry about Victor, they're worrying about Charlotte now. And while I don't think it's the worst thing in the world, as some people are saying, it isn't twins. Like, this takes a lot of their macro gameplay out of things, and I don't know. We have to see what happens when this goes. Like I said, another big thing, like I said, is can you switch to Victor? Because if you can switch to Victor again, this is fine. This is a fine change. The visual terror radius accessibility setting now includes Victor's grunts. This should include everything. Victor will now glow red whenever he's vulnerable to being crushed. Cool. Alright. So, once again, we have to wait till this comes to PTB to try it out. But from everything we're reading, this does not sound good. I think this is going to be worse. Sound like everything past here. Like this if they just did this, I think everyone would be happy. It's these three changes, or these new things that I think are kind of bad. I like the idea of Victor being able to hold a survivor down as an option, but it sounds like it's going to be forced, and I don't like that. And Charlotte getting a 10% haste effect, I'd be cool if she could do that, you know, like after a down or something. And she could, like, if you choose to go back to Charlotte, then you get the 10% haste. I think that would be fine, but that might also be a bit problematic. We'll see. Behavior's adding haste to like every killer now, so who knows. But overall, I'm not the biggest fan of how it's worded or how it sounds, but we'll see. But yeah. Blight. Here's the other controversial one. Improve collision detection to reduce cases where the blight slid off objects. So if you read the dev note there, they're talking about hug text. So a couple of years ago, it's funny, we waited 2 years for both of these changes. A couple of years ago, the dev said they wanted to remove hug text. Here's the problem. Here's the biggest problem with this. Because a lot of people are cheering. I don't actually think this is going to make Blight worse. I think this is going to make Blight better. The same reason that it did for Chucky, and the same reason it did for Billy. When you take away these abilities to do these cool shit, I've said so much about getting rid of Chucky's 180s. People are going to go for the easy option, the guaranteed option, because they can't do this cool stuff. Like, I don't think hug teching is like the most impossible thing in the world to do, or extremely skill expressive, but it's still a nice option and can mess up and isn't always the good thing to do, but it's fun. And now that you're getting rid of it, more blights are just going to go for boring bump logic hits. And boom, who fucking saw that coming? Now they're going to down everybody easier. I'm not the biggest fan of this. I haven't heard what Lilith has to say about this one. I am genuinely curious, though. Haddonfield. Updated the map layout and reduces overall size. Good. Reduce the length of hedges and fences to create more openings. Good. Adjusted various houses to reduce the strength of strong loops. Good. This better mean no more double windows. From what I can see on this image, it looks like a breakable wall and a window. Good. Love it. Good job. Chucky players are fucking ecstatic over this change. Most killer players are too, but Chucky players in particular, and Deathslinger. Just Jesus Christ. Reduce the numbers of reduce the number of houses in the map. I mean on the map? I guess in works, whatever. All remaining houses can be entered. So from basically, if you can't enter the house isn't there anymore, is what they're saying. Yeah. Cool change. It's gonna make the map feel bigger when it becomes smaller, I think is kind of what they're going for with this. Added pallets and lockers along the edges of the map, which means I think they're trying to make it so the center of the map can kind of become a dead zone, even with the pallets they're adding, like they just said. But the corners of the map, kind of like Coldwind, are going to be where a lot of the chases happen. Which, we'll see. We'll see how that works out. Adjust pallet loops in park tiles. So they're making the loops hopefully better in the park. We'll see. I say this for every change on this list, because they all are. The other controversial change. Decisive Strike increased stun duration to 5 seconds was 3. Added a new stabbing animation when Decisive Strike was successful. Alright. I'm a killer man. I'm going to say this right now. This is a good change. However, the people this is going to affect are the ones who are trying to win all the time in Tunnel. All the time. However, as someone who was here for the Decisive Unbreakable meta, I don't think this is going to be as bad as people say it is. If anything, I kind of want Decisive Unbreakable to come back. Because then I won't be seeing Buckle Up for the people, or I would rather deal with this than that, right? I won't be seeing, but this is the thing, right? We have to have good perks. Perks that do things that help the game in some way, shape, or form. Because if we only stick with like the same 6 or 7 perks and never buff anything else, or just nerf those perks down, then another perk is just going to take its place, and then we get back into another meta that's just boring as the last one. This is always going to happen. It's just the way games work now. And that's fine. But if you constantly buff stuff like this, like Decisive, making it better, there's more variety in things going on. And I've said this so many times about Decisive. Decisive strength doesn't come from the perk itself. It comes from the idea that someone could have it. Once this perk got nerfed and no one was running it, killers started tunneling a lot more. Because there was no fear factor of tunneling. Even if this perk isn't used every game, the fact that it might get used more often now, regardless of like how annoying it might be used offensively or this and that, will make it better. It will make the game overall better. I 100% agree with that fact. I know I've gone on record saying I don't think Decisive needs buffed. I think people just need to use it more and better. However, I'm fine with it getting the 5-second buff. I don't remember who said it, but behavior, you could also do 4 seconds. See if that works out, and then buff it to 5, but whatever. Yeah, I think the decisive change is fine. I think it's perfectly okay. If you are tunneling so much that this is going to affect your entire game plan, you're not good at killer. I hate to tell you this. You shouldn't be winning the games you are winning. Unfortunately. It still deactivates an in-game. It still deactivates when they work on a gen or heal. There's so many ways around decisive. Oh, what if they get into a locker? Leave them. Their options are... Their options are... Like, I don't know how to explain this. If you're chasing someone that just got unhooked, for whatever reason, and they hop in a locker because they know they can get the decisive off, leave them. If they really want to use their decisive, they're going to have to waste another fucking 50 seconds. Minimum, doing nothing. And I think it's the thing people forget. Go after somebody else. It's just I don't understand the hatred for Decisive Strike getting buffed. I really don't. It makes no sense to me. Adrenaline. Okay. Once again, another survivor perk that I thought was fine. And these changes are perfectly okay in my book. Adrenaline no longer activates if you're hooked when the gates are powered. Reduce the speed boost from 5 seconds to 3 seconds. Adrenaline no longer wakes you up with Nightmare. Freddy got a buff, chat. Let's go. Let's go. I'm talking, like, yeah. Freddy got a buff. Let's fucking go. The 3-second thing, whatever. I don't think it's that big of a deal. Not working after being hooked, though, that's massive. This perk is still good, though. I've heard some people say this perk is dead now. No, it just means you can't be as much of a dumb shit. That's all it means. I'm sorry to be bad, like rude to everybody, but all this change means is when you're using adrenaline and trying to make a quick play at the end of the match, you can't be as much of a dumb shit with it. You actually have to be smart and use it when you're about to get downed, not when you're about to get hooked. Whatever. This change is great. I don't think it needed to happen, but I'm cool with what they did. Ultimate Weapon. Okay. Ultimate Weapon is a perk that I have very rarely used, even since it came out, knowing it is meta and really strong and a really good tracking perk. It is the sole reason that Calm Spirit has become as powerful as it has, as widely used and as good as it is. So, the changes. now reveals the survivor's auras instead of causing them to scream. Okay. Reduced activation time to 15 seconds was 30. Okay. Increased cooldown to 60 seconds was 30. I think this was an unnecessary rework. Because all this is going to do is make it so Distortion is run more, if people even still run this perk. And it's just going to make Calm Spirit have almost no point. Which is fine. I like the idea of Calm Spirit not being ran every game. I do, but even as someone who enjoys aura reading perks, because here's the other thing with Distortion, because Distortion gets stacks if you're in the killer's terror radius. So once this reveals you, your Distortion stacks will go away, and then you'll start getting them back immediately because you're already in the killer's terror radius. Yeah, Distortion straight up counters this entire perk now. And then the 60-second cooldown is just ridiculous to me. Here is my idea to change this perk, because I never made a video on it. Never did, because I was waiting to see what they did, because we knew what was happening. My idea to change Ultimate Weapon was always make it so instead of having a cooldown, it works on hook. When you hook somebody, you open a locker, and then anytime someone enters your terror radius, no time limit, they scream. That was my only change to it. That way you get minimum 10 uses out of it realistically, and that's it. That was my change to it. And I think it would have been fine. Maybe I'm delusional, but I think that would have been fine. Whatever. We'll see how it goes. I don't think that people are going to be running Ultimate Weapon much anymore, which, whatever. I know I talked about Adrenaline Decisive being fine. This one just... There's so many other different changes. It needed the change, but, there's so many other things they could have done. Emblems. You can no longer lose a pip. Hooray. If I get Tunnel of the Survivor immediately, I don't lose a pip because I didn't really have an option there. In killer matches, if I happen to have a bad game, it's fine. Hooray. The store. These are actually interesting changes. One, look at this. Oh, shit. No one saw that. Look at this. This is so fucking clean. This is so clean. Oh my god, it's so good. Visual overhaul. It looks so good. I can't get over it. I know this is industry standard now, but it looks so clean. Added a specials tab to highlight when items are sale. Good. I don't know why we haven't had that. Added a collections tab so you can find collections more easily. Thank God. Added bundles containing multiple items at a discounted price. Cool. Every other game on the planet does that. Thank you. Killer Mori animations can now be viewed in the stores. I'm not the first person to say this, but this means we're probably going to be able to buy Mori soon. Hooray. And I have a feeling we're going to see the first one during the anniversary. I have a feeling we're going to see like 5 or 6 during the anniversary. Maybe I'm delusional, but I really do think that's what's going to happen. Added weekly gifts that can be claimed for free. That's me clapping behavior. That's me clapping for you finally giving back to your community a little bit. I thank you. Thank you so much. It's probably going to be crappy skins, but whatever. I'll take it. It's free. Archives. New tomes in their respective rifts will now open at the same time as the update. New Rift Bundle options, which grant the premium Rift rewards and the 20-tier head start at a discounted price. I actually don't fully know what this means. The discounted price one I'll talk about here in a second, but I actually don't know what this means. The new tomes and their respective rifts will now open at the same time. I don't know what this means. Maybe someone could explain that to me later in the comments or something. I don't know. But the new Rift Bundle option, which grants premium Rifts at tier 20 as a head start at this kind of price. Listen, I know some people complain about game companies doing this. I've talked many times that the Rifts / Battle Pass in Dead by Daylight does not take that long to finish. If you want to give Behavior some extra money to, quote, lower the time it takes, by all means, it's a cool option. Go for it. On Behavior side, they are a business. They have to make their money. And some people will fall for this. Or want to give their money. Which is fine. I really don't think there's anything to be like, behavior is just super greedy, which they are. Don't get me wrong, they are. But I don't think this is the greediest thing they could have done. But yeah, that's the patch. Decisive buff good, adrenaline buff good, ultimate weapon nerf bad. I'm sorry. Decisive buff good, adrenaline change good, ultimate weapon change. It needed the nerf, but please make it something else. Haddonfield sounds good. We'll have to see. Blight, dumb. I really hate this change. This change accomplishes nothing. I hate it. Gwyn's, we'll have to see, but I'm skeptical as hell. A lot of it sounds good, but we'll see. Emblems, okay, whatever. Store, great, W. Massive W on the store. I know that's a weird thing to W, but yeah, it's a massive W on the store. In any case, that's the patch. I don't know what you guys thought of it. I know I'm late to the party as always because I have to work like a human being who has bills to pay. But, you know, I like to hear what everyone else says. I know not everyone's going to agree with me, and that's fine. But in any case, I love you guys. Have a good one, and bye!
Subscribe, damn it. I'll be back. I always come back, and so should you, you moron.